Hello, fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to another episode as we are going to be reviewing the latest film that's going to be kind of part of the HBO Max theater/streaming, and that is Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto's cop thriller, The Little Things. Like I said, this is a movie that is part of that HBO Max WB agreement where it's going to be released in theaters and on streaming services the same day for free. I watched it on HBO Max around like 3 a.m. last night. Honestly, this is one of those movies that I actually didn't really know anything about, really up until, say, about 3 weeks ago when the trailers first started to drop for it. I really had no inkling of this movie being made or anything about it. But once I saw the first initial trailer, I was very positive on it. I think it looked really kind of True Detective-ish. For anyone who's been a fan of the True Detective series, I was definitely a big fan of Series 1 with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. But the big thing that sold me on this was that we have 3 Oscar winners. We got Leto, Rami Malek, and Denzel Washington. And basically have all the makings of this to be a really, really solid film. Over the past week, reviews started to drop for it. Not really given very positive reviews, which kind of left me kind of wondering what could have gone wrong with this film. So let's go ahead and jump into the review and see exactly what I thought of The Little Things. The main plot of The Little Things is we're following the story of Joe Deacon, played by Denzel Washington. He is a deputy in a small town, but when a murder happens a few towns over, I believe it's a few towns over, it looks similar to a murder that has happened in Deke's past, and he comes back to the town that he used to be a cop for, or detective for, to help the young uprising detective Jim Baxter, played by Rami Malek, hunt down the killer and try to stop it before any more murders exist. But there's a dark story, a dark past to Deke that a lot of people from the old town really still hold against him to this day. And basically him having to try to overcome that while trying to help Baxter hunt down the serial killer. And that's basically the main plot of The Little Things. Good things out of this. There's nothing more that you can expect out of a movie like this. When you have 3 Oscar winners, you know their performances are going to come to play. Denzel Washington is basically doing his Denzel Washington-est. He's coming in, he's dominating the screen, and he's doing what he does best. Denzel is fantastic in the film. He does everything that you want him to do in this movie, except for maybe like fight, because he is like 66 years old now. I will say I'm not used to the grayish hair that Denzel was sporting in this film. Now, that could just be more of a character thing they decided to do, and maybe that's not what he looks like in real life now. But it was definitely weird noticing him with gray hair in this movie. But nonetheless, Denzel Washington's Deke character has a dark past that still haunts him to this day. He wears these murders on his sleeve, and they trouble him, and they drive him towards his focused goal. And when he gets the scent of where potentially this serial killer could be and where his motives could lie, he's like a dog with a bone. He just cannot let it go. Whereas Rami Malek's character, Jim Baxter, he's the young upstart detective who actually took Deke's job when Deke left the old precinct. So basically, Baxter knows about Deke's past experiences, not the dark side part, but like basically that Deke was a fantastic cop, and so he wants him to help him out because he thinks he needs all the help he can get, because he can't find any clues with each passing murder, and people are starting to get restless because the FBI wants to come in, and basically he's given a window, so he brings Deke in to kind of help him the best he can. Jared Leto plays Albert Sparma, and yeah, Jared Leto, that dude's just a creepy mofo. I mean, this guy, he just gets off on playing these unsettling characters. I mean, you had the Joker, which I think was a horrible, horrible performance. And he's got Morbius coming out and stuff like that. But Jared Leto, I think, just really, really gets off on trying to be as uneasy or creepy as you could possibly be. And Jared Leto does it fantastically in this film. Does he ham it up a little bit too much, especially near the end of the film? Absolutely. But Jared Leto, when he is on screen, especially with Malik or Washington, you are locked in. You are focused on this because you are watching three actors playing a twisted little game of cat and mouse. And so if there was one positive thing about this film, the performances between these three men are definitely top notch. Does Malik kind of get the short straw in terms of getting to do as much stuff as Washington and Leto? Sure. Leto is in the movie the least, but he just has the most stuff to chew on when he does actually come into the film, and he definitely becomes the focal point of the movie once he does come on. But Malik's character is kind of more in reaction mode to what Washington does and to what Leto does. That he's just kind of the middleman. Could they have focused a little bit more on the Malik character, kind of made his character a little bit more stronger to once we get to the third act? Absolutely. Also, I think the buddiness of Denzel and Malik probably could have been a little bit stronger to basically make the final act stuff make a little more sense or a little more stronger and believable towards the third act. The first hour of this film is a very very good mystery. Like I said, it would be a fantastic season of True Detective if we had a full season long of hunting this killer down and the way he does things and how he leaves no clues. There's potential there. And as I was watching it, I literally was thinking, this could be a great season 4 of True Detective if they really wanted to do it. But knowing that it's a movie, you only have so much. You only have 2 hours to basically do this. Is there something that they do in the first 5 minutes of the film that totally gives away a main plot point throughout the rest of the film? Yes. If you catch it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't catch it, then it's not going to bother you. But for me, knowing what I saw in the first 5 minutes completely kind of made the rest of the story going forward kind of pointless, especially when the last half hour was last hour was focusing on that, knowing what I figured out in the first 5 minutes. But the first hour, though, the mystery of it has a very Seven, or even a lot of people don't talk about this movie, Striking Distance. I think is a good mystery thriller. Same thing with like Copycat. It's keeping you on the edge of your toes. You're trying to figure out the clues, just as Denzel and Malik are. But then as soon as, honestly, and it's not his fault, but as soon as Leto comes into the picture, it just kind of becomes a cat and mouse game between those, and you start to lose focus on the actual main story that is actually being told. And then by the time you get to the third act, where the hook or the twist, whatever you want to call it, comes into play, you finally realize that everything that you had been watching just seemed kind of worthless and kind of pointless to compare to where the movie eventually ends up going, which that's the main problem for the movie for me, is that you're expecting this to be a big mystery thriller about this serial killer and these two detectives trying to go after him. But ultimately, by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about something completely, entirely something else. And frankly, that stuff kind of pissed me off while watching it. When we got to the end of the movie, you're either going to like that or you're not going to like that. I did not like that. By the end of the movie, I was basically like, really? That's what the movie was about? Was this and not this that you've been building up for 2 hours? I kind of feel like I got screwed over. And that ultimately, that's the biggest problem that I think a lot of people are going to have. When you watch this first hour, you're hooked, you're motivated, and when the second hour comes in, you're hooked and motivated by Leto's performance with the other two. But ultimately, it's all for nothing by the end of it, and then you start to kind of pick apart everything you saw previously, and it just comes off very cliche. It's all stuff that you've seen before, and it's just a very by the numbers cop film until the inevitable third act where stuff changes. But the stuff that changes isn't good enough or isn't strong enough to survive the rest of the film that we had already seen. And ultimately, that's why I think you're seeing a lot of the negative reviews for the little things. It's not because of the performances. All three main actors do a great job in this film. The cinematography looks great. The score is great. Everything that everyone's doing in this film is really, really good. It's the script and the way the story unfolds and the end point of the film that ultimately fails three really, really great performances from three great actors and everything else that makes this movie work. And that's kind of where it is. It's a very uneven film. Great acting, great cinematography, great score, great potential of telling a really good story, but ultimately they try to get too cute and too clever with what they're doing, and by the end of the film, it leaves you frustrated and annoyed and really feeling like you wasted 2 hours of your time. So in terms of a recommendation, I can't recommend The Little Things. If you're a friend, if you're a friend, if you're a friend, great, good for you. If you're a fan of Denzel, Leto, Malik, you're probably going to check this film out anyway, especially with it being on HBO Max for free, or if it's in a local theater, you're probably going to check it out. I'm glad I checked this out at home on HBO Max, because had I gone to a movie theater and spent money on it, I probably would have been a little bit more pissed than I already was watching it for free. So I can't really outright recommend this film at all for you. So going to my actual review, because of the great acting, because of the cinematography and score, and everything around the story worked really, really well. Based off my new review system that I'm going to pop up on the screen here for you real quick. I'll do it for at least another week or two of reviews, just so you guys kind of get the hang of the new structure. I'm going to give The Little Things a 60% or a C grade. Like I said, the three leads do a great job, and everything around the story works really well. It's the story itself that ultimately fails this film overall. So that's the grade I'm going to give it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on Sean's Movie Crusades, or the Movie Crusaders now, sorry. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we have a review for a film that honestly, up until about 3 days ago, I didn't even know existed. But it had gotten released last week, so I just caught up to it now. And that is the drama, Our Friend. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.